Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Dead Space 3. Let's continue. I kind of have to remind myself what I was doing. It's been a little bit longer than it should have been, considering we're approaching the end of the game here. I guess we are catching up to Danik in the sense that we're going to try and fight him. I guess that's where this is going. Yeah, I think we were pretty much in this big action sequence. He's stolen the codex and...
Danik just left.
There's no other way down?
I'll head down on these cables. Just get the elevator working and meet me down there.
I'm not an engineer.
Try pressing the damn button.
So we've got a whole bunch of stuff here, which feels like they're basically telling us that this is a unbalanced, this is totally an unbalanced fight, and they just needed to give us a ton of resources to try and make up for this. And so we have a bench, I guess, also. So this is just a boss fight. Do we have VSync on? I mean, we might as well just turn it on. I mean, as it's not really worth it to experiment and say, well, maybe in this section when we use this cable, it would work. It would work when it didn't work before. This is the rappelling downward sections, which I feel like probably are better than the rappelling upward sections. Unless these necromorphs coming out of the ice, which don't really matter to me at all, but it looked like there was some bullets there. Unless they were going to attack the rope, there's kind of no point in taking them out, I guess, except for the fact now that we've got these really black, glowy necromorphs that feel like they are probably 100% alien. Alright, so first things first, we want to shoot this guy. Go ahead and equip the other gun. And we'll just use our other gun. It seems like the move here would be to just do this. And just jump and jump and jump. Like, if you wanted any speed at all, that would be my move. See, that's just bullets. So I don't know why they would specifically have bullets. What's interesting here is the fact that I can't really shoot that guy. The items seem to really take their time to fall.
All hands, stand clear. Resuming operations.
There we go. Even in that case, though, it's not like really great system. I feel like I got a considerable amount of tungsten in that fight. And yeah, it seems like you could mess around here with some single health kits, but you're gonna have to be fairly careful. I don't have a ton of resources. It is very possible that there are some resources up there that just are stuck to that wall. Because they were just like taking an elevator.
Down! Getting yourself killed is not gonna fix this.
Slow down. I think I moved fairly slow.
This is a one-way trip. And if I'm gonna die on this ice ball, I'm taking Danik with me.
I'm seeing laser lines, but I'm having a hard time seeing where the guys are. And health kits are kind of necessary. This is another one of those sequences though where it's also just going to be really sucky because the lower frame rate is going to make everything really janky. And so if the other guy is telling us heavy scarf frame, maybe that is the upgrade we were expecting to potentially upgrade our main weapon, which pretty much means we won't be able to equip it and use it in this fight. But yeah, if your co-op partner is telling you to slow down, then you're probably... I don't think I can hit these guys from this distance. See, there's like these explosives that are one thing, and then there's also just people. But like, what if I was just to shoot a grenade? Like, it seems like you can pretty much just shoot a grenade at these guys. If they were better lit, I could hit them better. Like, we have gone so far away from being a horror game at this point. I mean, it is nothing but just action, action, action. Use the action gun. And if any of those other people had dropped anything, apparently that stuff is just missed at this point. That's an interesting question. Would stasis have been of any use at all in this section? Like, I don't think it would have been. I don't think telekinesis would have worked. I don't think stasis would have worked. I don't know why there's a specific co-op section here, other than clearly they wanted you to make sure you had both players at this point, at this checkpoint. Here we see them saying turn it off. I thought this was a bench, and that would have made even less sense to give you a bench at this point. I don't know what happens if you miss the timing on this, by the way. It makes it seem like something fairly bad would happen, but I'm not sure. I've got these all backwards. And that's proving to confuse me. It's because I got the left stick on the right side and the right stick on the left side. Of course, that wouldn't be a problem if you were really playing in co-op, which oddly makes these levels slightly more difficult. I almost want to look at my inventory and just see if this tells us something. Heavy scarf frame, 1 upgrade circuit. I don't see how that would possibly be the right move. And oddly, we are still full of health kits, or our inventory's full of health kits. That is strange. Flame glaze, rail accelerator, heavy scarf frame, safety guard. And we have a scavenger bot returning, giving us some more tungsten. But I don't think we have really too much as far as weapon upgrades. Like what do we have new? Do we have a +2 reload, +1 damage? Or do we have +2 rate of fire, +1 damage? +2 rate of fire, 1 damage. So yeah, +2, 1 rate of fire. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else I could do to get this specific gun up higher. 2 damage, 2 clips, probably still what you want. 2 clip +1 reload is still probably what you want. Well, 2 damage +2 clip might be better. I guess it just comes down to what I want to reduce the reload speed even more on this gun. Alright, so if I was to change this heavy frame here to the heavy scarf frame, that is better for the upper tool. It does more damage. So then we integrate the upgrade circuits into this, and then we say, well, what do we want? A whole bunch of. We want damage, 2 damage, 2 clip to start with, and then construct another 2 damage and 2 clip. Okay. I think that pretty much gets our so we now need 2 damage plus reload if we can do that. Yeah. And then 2 damage plus reload. And then on the second one we want reload, probably more than other things. So what can we do? 2 reload plus 1 rate of fire would just increase reload. Two reload plus 1 clip on this might be your best bet. Or just 2 reload in general. Nope. So yeah. We apply 2 reload plus 1 clip. 2 reload plus 1 clip. At a certain point, then the question becomes, if I was to change this to 2 damage plus 1 rate of fire, did that reduce the amount of clip? Yes, it did. So, and see, this is just like the total wrong place to be doing upgrades at all. Like it's we're in the middle of this whole fight and they're having me waste time doing this. And at best, all that upgrading has done is given me 3 grenades instead of 2, increased the damage slightly on my main gun, and maybe increased the reload speed a decent amount. And that might be something that's noticeable, but it might be something that really isn't. It may very well be better to have a higher rate of fire instead of a reload on either one of these, but I think I'll stick with that. Meanwhile, we have the explosion amplifier, which I don't think I'd want to replace. I don't even really have a need for tungsten. We have damage support, which I don't think I'd want to replace. Let's see. I suppose at this point there is... Let's sell one of these rail accelerators. We don't need 2 of them. Let's go and turn this into a rocket launcher and see how that works. And assault rifle with spread fire is probably better than a rail accelerator with deadly precision, because I'm probably not that good of a shot. And usually when I'm using this gun, I'm shooting something either far away or several people in a general area. Some of these would change their speeds, certainly, and I could definitely increase the damage on some of this. Is there anything else that could really be changed? Not really. Not without drastically changing your game. Your gun. So it still puts you in this weird position where you really wouldn't want to be able to craft every single weapon or multiple weapons. It's just too crazy. Here we've got enough tungsten at this point where we could apparently we have something that would cost us nothing to craft this seeker rifle. So let's just construct it. Sure, why not? We'll put it in the storage facility, and I suspect that's probably just because I have so many spare parts. Same is also true with the Hun L Badger, so which I guess honey badger is probably what that says. Honey 1 Badger. But all I'm really doing is just filling up our vault for no reason. And then once I used up all those parts, now I can't build any of these other things. So there is a whole system underlying this that doesn't get explained clearly, that if you have the parts, you can pull off bigger gun construction. It just kind of doesn't matter. We're in a weird position right now. We probably need slightly more bullets, and we need to stop bothering with these. So I guess we go. We're still probably fine to construct a decent amount of just this medium medkits, and I'll just power myself up to 150. We'll stick with 140 bullets, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and put several health kits away and sell or just store one lonely bullet. Alright, so no, it's really still only 2 rocket launchers. I apparently did not get the clip up enough to even get a 3rd grenade, which means that really I shouldn't be increasing the clip at all on this gun. So clip, none of these are right. These all need to be 2 reload and something else. Two reload and 1 damage. 2 reload and 1 rate of fire. Or just 2 reload in general. Yeah, I'm not sure I can upgrade anything here that would actually affect anything. As far as reloads. Yeah, I probably should just leave it then. Because yeah, I could increase the rate of fire and lose a clip, but also lose a reload. I would need a reload and rate of fire trade. But apparently it would have to be 2 rate of fire, so unless I can have 2 rate of fire plus 1 reload, and even that seems like that's a trade-off. Yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it. Like, let's just get back into the action. Like, it's just really dumb, really dumb to have so much of your guns set up and have the bench and suit area be right here.
Turn it off. We thought it was the answer, but we were deceived. The moon is the source of the signal, the madness. Make us whole. Turn it off. These are its cries for help, its call to action. And we are the fools who listened.
So they make it very obvious, just in case you haven't been paying attention. And unless they're going to give us a new suit, which they have, let's see what the elite suit can do. Frontline assault suit from the 401st Division of SCAF Design and Advanced Survival and Biophysical Supportive Technology. What's funny here is I think it's a little weird that these very old suits would somehow still be better than just a standard EVA suit. But that does seem like that is the case, is that the EVA suit is a very lightweight, not upgraded thing, whereas 100-year-old technology in the elite suit and the Arctic survival suit and the archaeologist suit are better. So we're going to equip this, and just, I assume this is going to give us more health or armor. But I also think a lot of players may very well just walk past these things and never use them. I still have to feel like it's kind of a waste to not really allow you to just play as the old suit by default. All the upgrades are the same, so any passive buffs you're getting in this suit is all you're really going to get. And we still have the VSync off. It's not been terrible so far, but it's not great. It's still a little sluggish. And that's certainly no fun to play a game and +2 damage, +1 clip. Okay, I think we already had that. It's not really fun to have the end of a game slowed down because on the verge here, we can just take that out with this weapon. We can be just more cautious with our bullets if we're just going to fight standard Necromorph characters. And we can see there's just more and more of these frozen blocks, removed from blocks, characters. And instead of the resources here being something that's resource poor and that's part of the horror element to the game, instead we have a scenario here where we're resource rich and it really wouldn't be ever necessary, at least in the way I've played, to pick up these resources and then go back and craft more things. And if that was somebody's experience, that's not going to be a particularly great experience. We're not really getting any jump scares or anything. Here we can see more of these markers. We can walk right to the edge of that fight and of that area, and it didn't do anything. You're not really on a timer, thank goodness for that. We certainly have seen plenty of instances where gotta aim a little lower if I really want to hit these guys, but really don't have to aim that low. What? There we go. We've got some crawling explosive creatures we've never even seen before. Which made me go back up, which clearly that should have been something I have done. If I sound weird here, I was twisting my head. You know what? Why don't we just rocket launch? Rocket's not working. It's like incredibly late to the game to introduce characters like that. Those could have been all over the place, and that just screams to me that here we've got some kind of new creature, which is fairly late to the game too. It looks like Rosetta. Alright, well, that got rid of that. But that did look more like an alien than a Necromorph. This is moving me in different directions. Yeah, and there's just like no fight there at all. Like, absolutely no fight has to be taken or made. And I really question whether that was a Necromorph at all. That just does not feel like that was a Necromorph. That felt like that was just an alien. And here we can hear the whopping sound of a scavenger. Which, this is just the total wrong time to have yet another break. They're desperately trying to integrate what the game has been up until this point. I cannot aim with the telekinesis with the scavenger thing. Well, no, I guess I just can't hit that thing at all. Well, whatever is up there, I'm just not going to bother to get it. Yeah, this just feels weird, certainly. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Now we have a javelin gun blueprint. If the game straight up tried to bring it back to the old, to what we've been doing up until this point. Heavy standard frame, which I think I already have that. So I think they gave that to you twice. But like, that definitely feels like there was a mandate there to make sure at the end here of this section there's still more game to play, certainly, but it definitely feels like there was a mandate to bring back every element and remind the player of every element that they've done up until this point. I don't know what the real reason for that is. I wouldn't be surprised if we walk through here and Danik just hits us, or we're just in a circular arena type environment. It doesn't look like we're going to actually be finding any more resources. Like, clearly this is another, they're just using these grappling sections way too much instead of the gravity sections. Alright, well done. I thought we would be using stasis to get past. It's also believable that these are not actually necromorphs, although I would be more willing to believe they are, because necromorphs have this tendency to be willing to suicide themselves, since they seem to be a hive entity. We see all these lights, and I thought some of these lights might be telekinesis things. And we're just going down an elevator shaft that, if you rotated this 90 degrees, would just also feel like a it would just feel like you're going down a mine shaft or railway. I guess they tried to do some trickery there by showing red lights and making that seem like things, and here we have incredibly large blur, and he just walked through the thing, and problem with that is that would have just cut the rope. And clearly that was scripted. So yeah, it's definitely a one-way trip, although it probably was a one-way trip anyways. There was been no...
All dead. Isaac Clarke?
There's no indication you could have used those grapple points to go up anyways.
We can open the ventilation systems from in here. Clear a path for the dropships. Do it now.
Alright.
Isaac, you alright?
Carver, he's here. He's headed to the machine.
Can you reach him?
I'm trying to find a way into the city. We'll try to meet up on the way.
City. What city? Are we gonna end up in some weird alien city? That would be kind of cool, but it would also be fairly late in the game. I mean, if Alien City was on the table, I would have wanted to see Alien City as, like, at least the beginning of the third act of a 3-act play, not in the last couple of chapters. It would make a lot of sense if you really were trying to make this game a game as service type experience to have more than the one environment of on the ice planet or in the spaceships, which I guess that's technically 2 events. It would be 5 minutes before that scavenger bot was done, so there's no reason to wait 5 minutes. I guess maybe some people would have taken that long. Alright. 2 damage, 2 clip. What we have now is 2 damage, 1 reload, or 2 damage, 1 clip. Let's see. We can go ahead and just sell that. Because, like, yeah, I can just craft 2 damage, 2 clips, so there's really no reason to have 2 damage, 1 clip. Two damage, 2 clip existing does indicate that probably these numbers just always go up and up and up. Is there anything I really want to change on this gun? I think I do. I want to come back and change this from being a rocket launcher to back to being a grenade launcher. We could do incendiary grenades. We could do trip mines with knockback, which has a lot more trip mines, certainly, but way less damage. We could do timed mines, which probably don't work either, or trip mines that stick to the surface. Nope, I just think we want standard incendiary grenades, unless this somehow is better than this. Or we could create a new chip. Nope, I think I just want that. I think that's slightly better than the rockets because the rockets just fly straight, and in most scenarios that's not useful. And there would have to be just like a major improvement to something like this. But maybe there is. Because if this, let's see, if this starts at this point, let's just go ahead and equip this, and then we can throw in 2 damage, 2 clips all on top of this. As it was. And get your clip back up to that point. And then if we add the 2 reload plus rate of fire. I don't know if the 2 reload rate of fire are actually doing anything. Could very well just be 2 reload. Damage doesn't push that up. And clip, I mean, clip's already at the maximum, so. What is this? 2 reload rate of fire. Yep. That does seem like that is a better upgrade. Unless I could construct a 3 reload. I probably just wasted tungsten doing that. Okay, well. Well, that seemed like that was better. And honestly, I'm not sure I could tell a major difference one way or the other. Like, it feels very sluggish right now. Let's just switch that back. I also didn't check our inventory. That we did spend 5 minutes at the bench. Ridiculous. We still have done nothing with these ration seals. I guess I'll construct enough bullets to be over that much. And we'll go ahead and sell that. Put that back in that pile. I think we are hitting a point where we need to start selling some of this stuff, but also you could just hold on to a couple of these health kits, and if there's a new game plus and you are actually going to play a new game plus, you could be using these small health kits from a previous gameplay if that stuff carried over very easily. Although, in all fairness, you also wouldn't really need that. Alright, so I'm going to go back to the EarthGov frame and then 2 damage, 2 clip, 2 damage, 2 clip, 2 damage, 2 clip, 2 damage, 2 clip. Reload rate of fire. Reload rate of fire. Reload rate of fire. Reload rate of fire. It kind of feels like it's pretty much exactly the same. And the EarthGov was a lower frame. So I don't know if I just got a worst example of a frame. Yeah, that definitely feels snappier. So that whole effort was pointless. Not just a waste of time. This really is just not the place to be wasting time. Are we actually done with the whole going downward? I think we probably are. So now would be a good point to just turn off VSync again. Let's get back to the snappier frame rate. Here we have a text log. Apparently I didn't pick it up. Apparently I picked something else up. Which that's happened once before too, where things are too close together. The cranium of the species contains 6 holes, each is a passage leading to a resonance chamber, not unlike our own nasal cavity. When air is blown through the holes, it passes through a bonic membrane, and that then vibrates and modulates sound. By opening and closing the various membranes, notes are produced. I have no idea what they're talking about, though. Is that the aliens, the Rosettas, that didn't really have faces? This coincides with a written script observed carved into the surfaces of many of the structures we've uncovered. It isn't so much a written language as a pronunciation key. There appears to be 6 basic letters or notes in a language, simple to be sure, but combining notes, new meaning is conveyed. Thus, there is a notation indicating how long to hold each note. Now, it is highly unlikely that the species would need a pronunciation guide for its own language. In fact, it appears it's been added as an afterthought. It's as if they knew they didn't have long to live and they needed to communicate something very important to whomever discovered this world. In a way, this notation was left for us as a way to speak to us from beyond the grave. Okay, that is really scary, because what that implies to me is, here we have some kind of map, that we're going to have some kind of musical gameplay mechanic that comes out of nowhere at the end here to turn off a machine as a puzzle. And yeah, that does not look interesting. It's also very weird to see drawers, like chalkboards and drawers instead of digital screens, when other things are still working. The doors are still working, the lights are still working. Here we have a projector that's not on, which I guess maybe that would, I guess the projector itself.
The misshapen moon in orbit. That's what controls the markers. It's the end state of these creatures. Or rather, it would have been. You see, the natives of this planet constructed a machine that froze the moon in mid-formation. But it wasn't enough. Even half-formed, the moon's marker signal speaks to the markers back home. And it doesn't end there. There is a network of brethren moons spanning the stars. As each one completes, it connects to this network, making them aware. If this moon should complete, its brothers will all come, looking for food. But there is hope. The natives never finished configuring the machine. It wasn't meant to merely freeze the moon, it was meant to destroy it. You'll need the codex. It is the key to unlocking this machine and reconfiguring it. Follow my trail into the heart of the machine and end this nightmare.
We have no idea who this is.
The machine can crush the moon. It just needs to be properly configured.
What about Danik?
Stopping Danik won't be enough. We need to get that codex back. It's the key to reconfiguring the machine. But Serrano's locked the passage using some kind of alien glyphs. I'm gonna look for a way to bypass it.
So I guess the idea here is that both the planet we're on got frozen and the Necromorph. Why wasn't this on earlier? As far as this translator, we are gonna have a stupid system, aren't we? Does this just play this again?
Open.
Okay. We'll try that. First one's already in place. Second one is the third one. Now we... Let's see. Okay. That wasn't too hard, so if that's like the only puzzle there, that's fine, but almost certainly it isn't. That this is just establishing a alien world potentially on the other side of this door that maybe we'll see and maybe we won't. It really, though, has to be pointed out that it feels really dumb to say that moons are the enemy. Here we have more of these kind of isolation chambers. And here we've got some more of those annoying, noisy doors. Like, it feels like they just had an argument where they said they needed an enemy bigger than the enemy in the first game, and they wanted it to be way bigger. So let's make it a moon.
My God.
And the idea of...
Shit. This must be ground zero.
And that must be the machine.
Wow, and he just appeared out of nowhere.
So I guess this is it, huh?
Yeah. This is it.
I need you to promise me something. If I don't make it, you'll get this done, right?
We'll get this done.
Has a whole cutscene
You and me.
Yeah, but if I don't,
play out with the annoying glitching noise.
I helped get us this far. And that's close enough for all this to count, right?
It's funny he has a scar on his face and his name is Carver. I mean, that's just low effort naming.
All the bad I've done.
Oh, shut up, Carver. You're a good man.
I alienated my son. Wrecked my family. Isaac, I killed Santos. Is that what a good man does?
Oh yeah, I forgot he had a family and kids. We have had no backstory.
You just don't always end up doing well.
Hey. I'm sorry about Ellie, man.
Me too.
I still half expect Ellie to show up.
Me too.
Although there's kind of no reason for her to show up.
This way. Clear that rubble. Look, it's Danny. It's not too late.
No turning back now, right?
Let's go get that codex. Come on! Isaac, these paths! They join up with Danix up ahead!
Try to slow him down. I'll find another way.
Alright. So this game totally tries to separate the two players. And the idea of asynchronous play, even now, just does not really work well. Developers barely succeed at making one good game. The idea of having two separate good games in parallel is asking way too much.
Danik, you have to stop.
Isaac, is that you? You are unbelievably hard to kill. Are you aware of that?
Danik, do you know about the moon? Do you know what it is?
Part of the miraculous ecosystem, I assume.
It's alive, Danik. It's hungry, and it isn't alone. If you turn off the machine, you'll set it free. And then it and all its brothers find our markers, find us, and wipe us out.
How can you presume to know its intentions? You fear it because you don't understand it.
Danik, hear me out! Danik, are you listening to me?
There is a real problem in following or believing what we saw on the projections also. Like, that could be whatever marker signal is out there just driving you crazy, to telling you can destroy it with the codex when really you're gonna probably just free it. And we're back to scavenger things? That's crazy. It really doesn't also make any sense that any one moon would think that there is enough flesh and resources out there to allow the other moons to come and feed. It feels like it's just this hideous ever-growing virus that couldn't ever really sustain itself naturally based on the amount of organic material in the universe. It seems like by the time you had turned enough of a planet's population into enough mass to form a moon, you've pretty much eliminated the entirety of that that planet's organic material. Here we have a alien creature that's giant. I don't know if this is a necromorph that was trying to stop it from happening, or if this is supposed to be an alien and the aliens are just way bigger than I thought they were, or if this is supposed to be a statue of an alien. I mean, it could be a statue of an alien. Like, they really needed a completely different color palette for the aliens and just to show us one. When we saw that Rosetta creature, that should have been something that was like bright neon colored, something that you just wouldn't even use in the game palette at all. That way you could see, oh yeah, this thing is glowing bright pink. It looks nothing like a necromorph. It doesn't have gray fleshy parts. It could have been furry even as a creature. Like, I don't know if there's more aliens right there, or if that's just architectural design. Let's see where we are. It's been almost an hour trying to retrieve the codex for Danik. The chapter 17 looks like it might be fairly long, whereas chapter 18 looks really short, and chapter 19 feels like it's nothing. Let's look at the progress and unlocks for chapter 17. We got 100% of 16 because 16 was a fairly easy sequence, which that would create an issue certainly if we were to come back and try and do this in co-op. We'd have to go up to chapter 14, maybe if we could skip chapters, skipping some of the other chapters. There's about half of the chapters where you really wouldn't want to do anything on co-op unless you're just going to play it on impossible on co-op. But if you could skip around chapters, if you could play it on co-op, then there might be more of an argument towards this. There's apparently an entire optional mission in this chapter with 4 artifacts to collect and 6 more logs to collect, and there are 10 circuits, so there's a lot of opportunity here to potentially get slight upgrades. But unless they started giving me circuits that were +3, +4, or +5 damage, I'm not sure if I could ever get my main gun to do as much damage as the maximum. But I'm not sure it really matters either, because there seemingly are no real creatures that need your gun to even be at the highest damage. It seems like they've balanced it fairly well, where if your gun is at max damage, its shot speed is usually at half speed, or if your gun is at full speed, its damage is at half damage, which means everything meets in the middle, and it definitely feels like that's the case. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.